Well, I want to tell you a story about a woman named Elizabeth. Elizabeth did what many young adults dream of. She dropped out of college when she was 19 from Stanford and started her own business. And she had this dream that she was going to revolutionize healthcare. And this dream that she kind of birthed and had this inception of an idea actually turned out to be a huge success. Get this, the company that she founded had a $9 billion net value or worth pretty soon after she launched this thing. It was incredible. And it wasn't, at this point, it wasn't just like her company was the headline, like she was the headline. Like she was on the cover of Forbes. She was on the cover of Fortune magazine. She was on the cover of Time magazine. People wanted to get to know her. She was like, people called her the new Steve Jobs. She was the female Steve Jobs. Young women looked at her as like the ultimate role model. Young adults looked at her as like, man, she did what we all wanted to do, is to drop out and make a lot of money. That'd be amazing. And obviously, help the world in a lot of different ways. People said things like, man, she's changing the world. And she would speak with like a calm, confident voice. She was named the youngest self-made female billionaire in the history of the world. Board members for her company included former secretaries of state, military generals, and venture capital giants. She was hailed as a visionary, a genius, a disruptor. Doesn't that sound awesome? Like, I think that we can all agree that, like, we all kind of grew up in the post-social media age where the dream is to do something amazing and make a lot of money at a really, really young age, and she did it. And she did it. But then came the questions. Whistleblowers in her company began to talk. Scientists began to raise doubts about the very product that she and her team made. And investigative journalists started to expose the cracks. And Elizabeth, what she had done is she claimed that she was going to revolutionize healthcare by a machine that could, with one drop of blood, take hundreds of blood tests with just that one single drop. And behind like the most amazing packaging and behind all of the insane cool things that like it lured so many people in, it turns out that she did not have what she claimed to have. The company was like altering tests and excluding data that was flawed and changing things. And Elizabeth Holmes, the woman who started this whole thing, what she did is she just kept the image going. She kept the image alive, insisting everything was under control. Then in 2018, the company got shut down. In 2022, Holmes was convicted of fraud, and she went from billionaire to defendant in a moment, from role model to cautionary tale. See, Elizabeth was brilliant. I don't think anyone could argue with that. She was driven. She knew all the right words to say. She actually did accomplish a lot, and she appeared wise. She appeared wise. She seemed successful. She looked like she had it all figured out, but it was all a lie. The fruit of the thing that she produced and the wisdom that she touted, when she actually let that go, the fruit, the natural product of that was actually fraud and a lie and scam. And her wisdom, it was boastful. It was deceptive. It was self-serving. And it's a lot like the kind of wisdom that James, the brother of Jesus, warns us about in the passage that we're going to be studying today in James chapter 3. If you have your Bibles, turn to James chapter 3, verse 13. And today, if you've been here throughout this week or last year when we started the book of James, you know that we tell the purpose of James every single time because this is such a vital thing for us to get as young adults searching to follow the Lord with everything we have in a true, authentic way. So the purpose of James is this. Can you read it with me? We'll go like this. 3, 2, 1. If you claim to have faith in Jesus, it should change how you live. This is the purpose that James, the brother of Jesus, said and gave his life for. You see, when James first writes in the first part of his book, he says that if you have faith in Jesus, then it should change your works. We read last week, if you have faith in Jesus, it should change your words. And then today, he says, if you have Jesus, you have real faith, then it should change your wisdom. So my question for you today is, do you need wisdom? Do you need wisdom? How many of you, just by raise your hand, how many of you say, I really need wisdom for something going on in my life? Raise your hand. Awesome. Yeah, maybe some of you are trying to figure out if you should ask that person out. Some of you are trying to figure out if I should break up with that person. Some of you are trying to figure out if I should take that job, if I should quit this job. Should I move to this city? Should I move to this state? Should I invest in this thing? Should I, whatever. Oh, there's so many decisions that require wisdom that we all want. Like, I don't know about you, but I have these moments in my life where I feel overwhelmed. And I feel like, man, I have decision fatigue. And I feel paralyzed by all the potential in front of me. And I think, man, I don't know what to do. Anybody else with me? Where I just like, man, I just need somebody to come in and help me to do something. And this idea of wisdom is something, where does wisdom come from? How do you get wisdom? Well, I'll tell you what the Bible says where wisdom comes from. Proverbs 2 says this. It says that the Lord gives wisdom, and from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Here's what you need to realize. That wisdom does not come from taking a class. Wisdom does not come from learning intellectual knowledge. Wisdom comes from God. Wisdom comes from God. And if that's the case, if wisdom is from God, if like the divine wisdom that could help you make decisions, navigate something, have a desired outcome in your life, the question that I would often ask is, how do I get it? How do I get wisdom? We look to God's word again in Proverbs chapter 9. It says this, and this is something that if you can master this, if you can understand this verse, then you will be close to wisdom, closer than you think. It says this, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. If you are someone who reveres God, fears God in a way like a good dad who doesn't want to, who's like, okay, I want to follow him because I love him and I respect him and I revere him. If you do that, then you're going to look at his word, his commandments, his ways, and you're going to pay attention. You're going to pay attention. And then another way that we get it, which I'm so grateful for, is that James, in the first chapter of his letter, he literally tells you how you can get wisdom. And it may be easier than you think. It says this in James 1, verse 5. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God. Isn't that amazing? Hey, if you don't have this, if you don't have wisdom, if you desperately need wisdom in your life, you're trying to figure stuff out, trying to navigate a lot of things, if you don't have it, you should ask God. You should ask him, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. God is a God who is full of wisdom. His knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Wisdom drips out of the mouth of God and out of the actions of God. And God is not stingy with his wisdom. God so desperately wants to give it to his kids. He so desperately wants to shower us, those of us who really desire it, who really ask for it, who really believe that when we ask for it, God will give it to us. God will give it to you. And here's what you need to understand. You don't become wise by knowing everything. You become wise by submitting to the one who does. Some of you who are in here who really have your intellect as the main thing that you tout, this is disappointing for you. Because you think that all the stuff that you know is going to make you wise. But how many of you know there's a big difference between intellect and wisdom? You can know exactly how something works, but should you do it or not? That's another question. You don't become wise by knowing everything. You become wise by submitting to the one who does. So for you with a high intellect who is like, man, I really have this is something I really cling to, what you need to understand is that if you really want true, divine, supernatural, powerful, guiding, good wisdom in your life, it can't be from you. It has to be from someone else. And if you're not like that, if you're like me, who you know you don't have it all together, you know you don't have everything figured out, this is great news for you too, because this just opens you up to, in humility, look up to God and say, God, I need your help. Because I can't mathematics my way out of this. I can't reason my way out of this. God, I don't know what to do. Would you help me? And so James, he starts this passage we're about to study today. He starts it just like with our works, just like with our words. James is going to tell if our wisdom is real or fake, because at the beginning we notice that James says, hey, it's not enough to just say that you're a Christian. What does your life look like? It's not enough just to say you're a Christian. What do your words look like? And James right now says, hey, it's not enough to say that you're wise. What does your wisdom produce? And then for you, before we dive into this, I want you just to be thinking. This first verse right here is kind of this rhetorical question that I want to ask everyone to ask yourselves in your mind. Just say this. In verse 13, James writes, who is wise and understanding among you? Think about that. Are you wise? Do you have understanding? He says this, who is wise and understanding among you? By his good conduct, let him show his works and the meekness, the gentleness of his wisdom. The first thing that we need to understand about what James is describing about wisdom and what true wisdom looks like is this. True wisdom is not proven by what is said. Because we've all been around people who talk really good at parties, but then you look at their life and you're like, oh, that doesn't match up with what you said. You know what I'm saying? We've all seen the Instagram people who get online and just talk about what it means to win at life. And I get up at 4 a.m. and then at 4 to 5 a.m., that's my one day. And I'm stacking my days on top of each other. And you look at that and it sounds like wisdom, but you're like, dude, what are you talking about? See, true wisdom is not proven by what is said. True wisdom is proven by what produces. What does your wisdom in your life produce? What is the genuine good ideas that you think and the ways and the driving of your car, the way that you're going? What is that producing in your life? And just like with everything James has been saying so far, he continues the theme of saying it's not enough to just say stuff. It's enough, you have to actually, lip service is not enough. Is what you're engaging in, is it leading to the outcome that produces goodness, that good conduct, that produces gentleness through your wisdom? What is it? What is your life producing? What is the wisdom in your life producing? And so today we're going to look at the two different categories that James picks up here in this passage. He talks about true wisdom versus fake wisdom. Like fake wisdom. True wisdom versus fake wisdom. And what James is about to do is he's about to define what fake wisdom looks like. And this is something that as followers of Jesus, if we use wisdom, in wisdom it's just the process, the art of trying to get the desired outcome for you. It's wisdom drives your car. It tells you when to take a left, take a right, slow down, speed up. Wisdom helps you in different areas. And so James is going to describe if what is leading you, driving your car, if it contains any of these things, then the wisdom that you think that you have is actually not godly. It's not from God. In fact, it's actually very different. James says in verse 14, says, if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast and be false to the truth. This is not wisdom that comes from above, because remember, wisdom comes from above. True wisdom comes from above. But if you engage in this kind of wisdom, it's earthly, it's unspiritual. And he even goes on to say that this kind of wisdom is demonic. This is from Satan. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder in every vile practice. So what you have to do to try to determine if you yourself are being guided by true wisdom or fake wisdom, you have to look at some of the aspects that James talked about here. So let's define fake wisdom by how James says this. So fake wisdom, what fake wisdom is actually earthly. It's unspiritual. It's demonic. That's what fake wisdom is. You may think that you are accessing wisdom from God, wisdom from heaven, but in fact, you're doing the very opposite. And you'll know what if this is fake wisdom, because fake wisdom includes these things. Fake wisdom includes bitter jealousy. Bitter jealousy. Imagine, wisdom helps you drive the car of your life, right? Wisdom helps guide you to decision making. Wisdom tells you when to say something, when not to say something. Really, wisdom is something we desperately need in so many things in our lives. And if your wisdom includes bitter jealousy, like a harsh, resentful zeal towards other people, you see good things happening over there, and your wisdom tries to crash into that person because you're bitterly jealous, then that wisdom is ungodly, it's earthly, and it's demonic. If your wisdom that you're letting to drive the car has selfish ambition towards it, in it, then it's fake wisdom. If your wisdom is a boasting wisdom, meaning like you look at yourself and you're constantly talking about the things that you feel like you're doing well. And you constantly look at other people and you're trying to figure out how you can like get up on other people by talking about how good you are. You know what I'm saying? We're really good at doing this. We're really good at inserting really good things about us around the people that you know you can kind of dunk on. Don't look at me like that. I've seen you guys do it. I've done it. We all do it. This is the problem for us. That's why James is writing this. Another thing that fake wisdom includes, it includes just like fake news, wrong, falseness. Fake wisdom actually avoids truth. Because truth is about God, and God loves truth. Fake wisdom does everything it can to avoid truth, to manipulate, to get to what you want. And what does this fake wisdom lead to? We know what it is, we know what it includes, but what does fake wisdom lead to? James says it leads to disorder. You know what disorder is? Disorder means that everything in your life is kind of fractured and everywhere, and you know it's a messy room. You walk in and you're looking for your keys and you don't know what's going on. How many of you guys have experienced this when you're like, I'm late for school, I'm late for work, my keys are somewhere under the piles of clothes and all this stuff going on, and I don't know what to do. I see some Snickers over here. It looks like it's happening over here, and I get stressed. I'm just like freaking out. I'm irritated. I'm like more irritable. This is what this kind of wisdom is going to lead to, disorder. You see, God is a God of order and unity. You see, God, when he created at the beginning, he hovered over the waters, and it says that he brought order from chaos. When God is in something, it takes it from chaos to order, disorder to order. You see, when you let fake wisdom drive you, that means that you're going to be led into sin. And what does sin do? Sin fractures you. Sin makes you one thing over here and another thing over there and another thing over there, and you have to start balancing all these plates, and you don't know what to do, and it's horrible. And if you've ever lived like that, like I have, it's awful. But God, what he wants, when you let God in your life, he mends things. He makes you whole. This is what God does. But fake wisdom leads to disorder. But fake wisdom also leads to every vile practice. If the end result of the wisdom that's driving your car leads you to vile practices, anything that would be considered a violation of God's law, it's fake wisdom. And listen, I need you to understand something here. You can actually subscribe to fake wisdom and still be really smart, still be really strategic, but you can also be really sinful. Because how many of you know this, the people who are so smart, who are so strategic, who are so incredible at doing a lot of stuff, it also led them to doing some really bad things. It really led them to a life where sin kind of takes over and fractures them. And I heard a pastor say a kind of a definition for fake wisdom. He called this manipulation. Another word for fake wisdom is manipulation. If you in your life, if you are trying to get the desired outcome of your life and you realize that I have to manipulate you or I have to put something on the altar in order to make this happen, like, okay, in order to get this thing from this person, I have to lie to this person. That means that you have this manipulative attitude. That's fake wisdom. And God doesn't want this. And we see this to be true all the time. We see this all the time, people. Remember Fire Festival? You guys remember this? Some of you didn't go. That's good. You saved a lot of money. But remember, like Billy, the guy who put together Fire Festival, it was like the most amazing thing you've ever heard of. Like Billy was a genius. He's like a marketing genius. He got people to commit to an exorbitant amount of money on the front end without really any insurance that it was going to happen. And what happened? It was all glitz and glam. He was able to convince people using manipulation. And what was the fruit of that manipulation? It crashed and burned. People lost money. Billy went to jail. There was a lot of bad things that happened, because what happens when you let fake wisdom, manipulation drive your car is disorder. Every vile practice. You will sacrifice whatever you need to in order to keep the facade up. You see, the inevitable outcome of fake wisdom is moral and communal ruin. Maybe it's not as big as like the communal moral ruin of Fire Festival, but maybe in a friend group, it just like destroys it. Maybe the wisdom that you've let drive your car has ended relationships. And you need to know that James, he gives you a picture of what true wisdom is. He paints a picture of what fake wisdom, manipulation is. But we can be people who forsake this first part of the passage and embrace what James says true wisdom is. And this is what he says it is. But wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere, and a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. So why did he describe wisdom like that? Why would sometimes when I think about this, like I think wisdom just seems kind of it's almost like personified a little bit. I would never use those words to describe wisdom if I'm thinking about wisdom. I think of just like shrewdness. I think of like how Proverbs describe wisdom. But it's interesting that James, the brother of Jesus, uses these categories, these words, to describe what wisdom is. And I think it's because of this, because wisdom comes from God. And God is all those things. And you're not going to get anything from God and violate who he is and his character. Here's how you know if the wisdom that you're using to operate your life is really true wisdom from God. Here's how you can know. Number one, have you asked God for wisdom? This is a really easy one. Like you can figure out, how do I know if I have godly, true wisdom? Have you asked God for it? Or are you still just trying to figure it out on your own? James 1:5 says, if anyone needs wisdom, ask. Most of you haven't even started the first one. Just be like, God, I need you. Help me. Can you give me your wisdom that you say that you will give me, that you're generous with? It's from above. James 1:5, you got to remember that. Another thing that you can know if you're operating in God's wisdom and true wisdom is if it's in purity, if it's pure. If its primary quality is this moral purity, sincerity, or meaning that, you know what, I know if I'm letting this wisdom drive my car, I know there's a shortcut over here, but honestly, I know this is wrong. And you know what? I'm going to let the wisdom from God tell me not to pull off and to shortcut this. I'm going to go the way that he tells me to go, even if it takes longer. Even if other people are doing it, I'm going to be led by God, which is wisdom from above. And it's always led with purity. Another thing that you can know, if the vehicle that's driving your life is God's true wisdom, if it's peaceable, if it promotes harmony, if you are going around and your wisdom just blows up every relationship that you have, and you say, and you know people like this, and you say it like this, listen, that's just my personality, okay? You either get with me or you get on the road. I do me, you have to learn how to deal with me, okay? That's not wisdom from God. Because wisdom from God is you are a peaceable person. You are looking in every avenue of your life, every relationship you have, you are looking, how can I bring peace to this situation? How can I let God work through me to be a peacemaker? You're going to promote harmony when you do this. Another aspect of true wisdom is this. If you're peaceable, Or if you're Gentile, or Gentile. If you're gentle, we're all Gentiles in here. Some people realize, I think I've heard some people say that, man, I'm a Christian, but I'm kind of one of those mean Christians. I say what I want to say. I do what I want to do. And that's like, honestly, I hear that, and I'm just like, man, I don't think you get it. That's like saying I'm a jumbo shrimp. It's an oxymoron. Because you can't actually be a Christian who's truly saved by God and not have the sense of gentleness about you. Someone who lets true wisdom drive the car is considerate. It's kind. Is looking for ways that they're not always trying to, come in there and whatever. You are a gentle person. And another thing you are is you're open to reason. You're not someone who's so all about your plan that you're unwilling to yield to other people's opinions. You're someone who looks at the wisdom of people that God has placed in your life that love the Lord, and you're open. You're willing to yield. You're teachable. I mean, it's amazing when you're around these people, right? We've all been around people who they have what they want to do, and they just do it, and you come alongside of them, and you're like, hey, I've been through this before, and you would really be great if you kept going instead of taking off the road right here. And they were like, I'm doing what I want to do, okay? You're like, all right, fine. But when you're with someone, how many of you have ever done that before? You've given somebody some heartfelt advice. And you said, hey, this, I see you going down this path. And they hear you and they say, thank you so much. I'm going to change my, is that cool? Is that good? Okay. Do this real quick. It's a longer walk than I thought. Is this stop? Can you hear me? There we go. Okay, I'm going to, hold on. All right, I'm going to use this one. Is that cool? All right, cool. I have no idea what I was talking about. That long walk got me. Wisdom. Oh, wisdom. That's what it is. No, but we've all had those people who, when maybe you've shared a little bit of your story with them and they listen to you, what is that? There's this bonding, this amazing thing that happens with that. Another thing you are is you're full of mercy. You're not somebody who always has to call every debt out all the time. You're full of mercy. You're compassionate. You're good. You have good fruit, meaning that the things that you're doing are working. That it's God honoring. It's moral goodness that blesses God and blesses people. You're impartial, meaning that you're not double-minded. You're without prejudice. And then you're sincere, genuine, without hypocrisy. You kind of see the difference in the two things. You see the difference in real, true wisdom versus fake wisdom. And listen, here's a good thing. Here's how you understand which one you're in. If you have to sacrifice any of the things that we just listed in order to make a decision, then the wisdom that you are subscribing to is fake wisdom. It's manipulation. And this is something that James says should never be a part of the repertoire of a follower of Jesus. Because again, if you've truly been saved, if you truly have this faith that Jesus has saved you, that he is your Lord and your Savior, that you live in service to him, then it should change how you do things. It should change your words. It should change your works. It should change your wisdom. David was 25. He was a recent college graduate. He was working his first job at a big marketing firm, and one day during a team meeting, his manager shared a proposal that involved using manipulative advertising, stretching the truth to sell a product targeted at financially vulnerable consumers. Everyone nodded. The pressure was clear. Play along, don't rock the boat, especially if you're new. And David, he felt this pit in his stomach. He knew that this approach violated his conscience, and he didn't align with his faith in Jesus. And what the fake wisdom told him to do is, hey, suck it up. This is your first job. It's fine. Do whatever you need to do. Get along to get along. Just stay quiet. You're new here. Don't be the religious guy.
Don't be the guy who's always like, whining about everything. He says, he thought also, you don't need to build your reputation this way. In fact, what if you kind of do this and then you can like work to build a good reputation after this? And honestly, you can't even change anything anyway. It's above your pay grade. This is what the fake wisdom said in his life, but as we all do this, and as we were mulling these different options, he felt this still small whisper in his heart. And he remembered the words of Ephesians chapter 4. It says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his whole soul? I'm sorry, the words of Jesus who said this. In Ephesians 4, it says, speak the truth in love. In James 3:17, be pure, peace-loving, sincere. And so what David did is he mulled over this, and he went on his lunch break and he prayed to God, asking God for courage and clarity. He asked God for wisdom. And what he did is he privately met with his manager the next day, respectfully raising this concern. And he said this, I'm not comfortable with how this pitch misrepresents the product. And I think we can communicate it without misleading anyone. And he offered a revised version of this proposal, keeping his integrity in check. And how did his boss respond? To his surprise, his manager appreciated the honesty. And he said no one would have the guts to challenge his idea. And he said, you know what? I'm going to go with your proposal. But David said, even if it hadn't gone so well, he said, I still would have done the exact same thing. Because peace with God is better than praise from people. You see, fake wisdom, what it does is it prioritizes self-promotion, self-protection, and people-pleasing. All of you are going to have opportunities and moments like this where you're going to be at a fork in the road, and fake wisdom is going to drive you one way, and true wisdom is going to drive you another way. And most often, the fake wisdom way is easier. It's shinier. It's faster, and it may seem better, but God's wisdom moves with truth, with humility and courage, even when it's costly, even when you have to step out of your comfort zone. James basically sums up the entire passage like this. Real wisdom is not about being right. It's about being righteous. And righteousness grows best in the soil of peace and humility. This is what we need to be about. This is what we need to be doing as young adults who are searching to follow Jesus. You all are going to have moments where fake truth, manipulation will tell you to go this way, but we have to be a people who desperately need God. And in these moments we say, God, would you help me? Would you give me your wisdom? I don't know what to do. Please help me. And I can attest, and so many people in this room can attest, that when you seek the Lord and you look to honor God, God will come through and he will bless you. It may not mean that you get the easy way out. In fact, you often have to go the extra mile. But when you serve the Lord, there's always blessing.